Cleveland thought it was just another press conference. A rookie quarterback answering the same recycled questions after practice. Nothing more, nothing less. But at 4:47 p.m. Eastern, everything changed. Shedeur Sanders leaned into the microphone, looked straight into the cameras, and delivered a line that detonated like a bomb inside the Browns organization. I came here to win. I've done everything they've asked. But respect goes both ways, and right now, I'm not sure I'm getting it. 23 words. That's all it took. Within seconds, silence in the room turned electric. Reporters froze. Cameras zoomed closer. And in living rooms across America, fans realized they had just witnessed the spark of something far bigger than football. This wasn't frustration. This wasn't immaturity. This was a rookie quarterback, handpicked as the face of Cleveland's future, standing in front of the world and challenging his head coach's authority. In that single moment, months of whispers became headlines. Hashtags exploded. ESPN cut in live. Former players dropped instant reactions. And Cleveland's fragile hope turned into a national crisis. Because this wasn't just a soundbite. This was a declaration of war inside the Browns' locker room. The question now wasn't if the story would consume the franchise. The question was how fast. The words had barely left Shedeur's mouth when the ripple became a tidal wave. Within 3 minutes, clips of the press conference flooded X, TikTok, and Instagram. The hashtags wrote themselves. Hashtag Respect Shedeur trending at #1. Hashtag Fire Stefanski climbing right behind it. Memes sprouted instantly. One showed Stefanski drowning in a playbook while Shedeur walked away untouched. By the 10-minute mark, ESPN cut live coverage to replay the statement on a loop. Fox Sports switched graphics mid-show. Cleveland in crisis. What began as a routine Tuesday availability had mutated into national breaking news. The numbers were staggering. 1.4 million impressions in under 20 minutes. By halftime of Monday Night Football, that clip had reached households across the country, eclipsing highlight reels and injury reports. And the voices came quickly. Michael Vick tweeted, "That kid's different. Let him lead." Warren Moon posted, "Modern football requires modern thinking." Even analysts who normally downplayed rookie drama were suddenly calling it a seismic moment. Fans felt it. Reporters knew it. And the league understood it. This wasn't just a minor flare-up between quarterback and coach. This was the kind of public challenge that can reshape an entire season. Cleveland had lost control of the narrative, and the story was no longer theirs to contain. To understand why Shedeur's 23 words hit like a thunderclap, you have to rewind. 3 weeks earlier, in Los Angeles, the Browns faced the Rams. It was supposed to be just another preseason checkpoint, another chance for the rookie to gain experience. Instead, it turned into a nightmare. 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, completion percentage dragged below 50. By the fourth quarter, Shedeur looked less like the future of the franchise and more like another name in Cleveland's long list of battered quarterbacks. But the true damage didn't come on the field. It came after. When the game ended, reporters expected Kevin Stefanski to shield his rookie, to frame it as growing pains against an elite pass rush. Instead, his words cut cold. He pointed to fundamental breakdowns, to poor decision-making. No excuses, no protection, just public blame. The locker room noticed. So did Shedeur. Gone was the charismatic kid who joked with linemen and lit up practices with his swagger. In his place, a quarterback who showed up early, stayed late, and kept his words clipped and cautious. The voluntary film sessions he once energized became silent obligations. Teammates saw the shift. They felt it. The seeds of distrust were planted that night in Los Angeles. For weeks, they grew quietly, hidden beneath routine practices and media platitudes. Until one Tuesday afternoon, they finally broke the surface, exploding into the microphone for the entire football world to hear. Beneath the headlines and the viral soundbites lies the real conflict. Not personality, but philosophy. Shedeur Sanders was raised in the era of pace and freedom. His game thrives on tempo, spread formations, and the ability to improvise when the pocket collapses. He's most dangerous when the play isn't scripted, when chaos breaks loose, and he can create something explosive from nothing. To him, football is about momentum, rhythm, and seizing opportunity in the blink of an eye. Kevin Stefanski, on the other hand, is a disciple of discipline. His system is slow burn, methodical, built on play action, timing, and structure. He believes the path to victory comes through repetition and order. The quarterback as an extension of the playbook, not a freelancer rewriting it in real time. To him, football is chess, not jazz. Both perspectives have merit. Stefanski's structure has delivered playoff runs and earned him respect across the league. Shedeur's improvisational flair has already produced highlight reels and captivated fans who see the future in his style. But together, oil and water. Every up-tempo drive that Shedeur sparks feels like Stefanski's plan unraveling. Every time Stefanski reins him back into a rigid pocket, it feels like Shedeur's talent is being suffocated. Neither side is wrong. Neither side is willing to bend. And that's what makes this conflict so combustible. It isn't just quarterback versus coach. It's evolution versus tradition. New school versus old school. The future of football colliding with its past. Inside the Browns facility, the tension is no longer hidden. Whispers circulate in the weight room, in the cafeteria, in the quiet moments between drills. Players don't say it directly, but everyone knows. Sides are being chosen. The younger core gravitates toward Shedeur. They see his fire, his willingness to speak up when others stay silent. 4 rookies and second-year guys fighting for respect. Sanders feels like one of them, bold enough to challenge authority, charismatic enough to pull them along. To them, he represents possibility. But the veterans? They lean towards Stefanski. They've lived through chaotic locker rooms before. They've seen how improvisation can spiral into disaster. To them, Stefanski's structure, his system, his discipline, those are the things that build championships. Caught in the middle is Myles Garrett, the heartbeat of the defense, and one of the few voices powerful enough to command the entire room. Just days after the press conference, Garrett stood in front of his teammates and urged unity. We can't let outside drama rip this locker room apart. His words carried weight, but even he knows speeches can only patch so much. Because beneath the surface, fractures are widening. And for a team with playoff ambitions, fragile unity may be the most dangerous opponent of all. The fallout didn't stop at the locker room. It climbed higher, straight to the top of the organization. Hours after the press conference, Shedeur Sanders' phone lit up. The caller wasn't an assistant coach, wasn't a PR handler. It was Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner. Haslam didn't mince words. He told Shedeur he had his full support. He told him the organization believed in him. And then he made a promise. The situation with Kevin Stefanski would be addressed immediately. For a 22-year-old rookie, it was validation. For Stefanski, it was a gut punch. General manager Andrew Berry suddenly found himself caught in the middle of an impossible equation. He inherited Stefanski, but he knows Shedeur is the hand-picked investment of ownership. Every meeting now feels like a chess match. Berry trying to keep the peace while both sides sense the ground shifting beneath them. Inside staff rooms, Stefanski grows defensive. What he sees as necessary structure, others interpret as rigidity. And Haslam's direct communication with Sanders only deepens the perception that his authority is slipping away. What started as a single line in a press conference has now morphed into something larger, an identity crisis for the Cleveland Browns. Who defines this franchise? The system of the coach, the vision of the general manager, or the will of the owner backing his chosen quarterback? In Cleveland, the balance of power is no longer clear. And nothing is more dangerous to a team than a fractured chain of command. Strip away the noise, and the numbers tell their own story. But even they refuse to speak with one voice. On paper, Shedeur's rookie season so far looks respectable. A completion rate hovering around 61%, flashes of deep ball accuracy, and a handful of clutch throws that hint at star potential. But look closer, and the cracks appear. His touchdown-to-interception ratio remains uneven, and the sack totals are climbing higher than anyone expected. The real split comes in tempo. When the Browns let Shedeur push the pace, quick reads, no huddle offense, the results are electric. Cleveland ranks top 5 in explosive plays over 20 yards in those moments. But under Stefanski's slower, structured rhythm, the team drops to the bottom half of the league, bogged down in stalled drives and missed opportunities. To Shedeur supporters, these numbers are proof. Unleash him, modernize the playbook, and the Browns' offense can soar. To Stefanski's defenders, they're a warning. Chaos may create fireworks, but also invites turnovers and exposes weaknesses. In truth, both sides are right, and both sides are weaponizing the same data to argue their case. The debate is no longer about stats alone. It's about what those numbers represent. Raw potential versus proven discipline. The future versus the past. It didn't take long for the national voices to weigh in. Michael Vick was one of the first, tweeting simply, "That kid's special. Let him cook." Warren Moon followed, reminding everyone that modern football requires modern thinking. Suddenly, Shedeur wasn't just a rookie in Cleveland. He was being elevated as the face of a larger movement, the symbol of what the next generation of quarterbacks should look like. Sports talk shows piled on. ESPN, Fox, NFL Network. The narrative flipped overnight. This wasn't framed as a rookie struggling to adjust. It was framed as a dysfunctional franchise suffocating its future. Headlines screamed, "Cleveland at war with itself," and "Browns risk wasting another talent." And that's where the shadow of history crept in. Fans didn't need reminding, but the media gave it anyway. Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield. Names etched into the graveyard of quarterbacks who came to Cleveland with promise and left with broken careers. The question echoed across radio shows and message boards. Is this just another chapter in the same nightmare? For Browns fans, the fear was visceral. For rivals, it was déjà vu. And for the league, it was a cautionary tale playing out in real time. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just fighting for respect. He was fighting to avoid becoming the next name on Cleveland's long list of quarterback tragedies. Cleveland now stands at a fork in the road, and none of the paths are simple. The first option is adaptation. Stefanski swallows his pride, loosens the playbook, and builds around Shedeur's up-tempo style. If it works, the story flips overnight. Coach and quarterback bridging their differences, offense igniting, and the Browns proving they can evolve. It's the dream ending, but it requires compromise Stefanski has never shown before. The second path is the illusion of peace. Band-Aid solutions. Closed-door meetings, carefully worded pressers, the public smiles masking private fractures. For a few weeks, maybe even a season, it could hold. But the cracks would still spread beneath the surface, waiting to split open again. And then there's the nuclear option. The kind ownership whispers about, but never says out loud. Fire the coach mid-season. Or, even more drastic, move the quarterback before the rookie contract matures. Either choice would be a franchise-defining admission of failure, carrying ripple effects that would last years. The stakes are brutal. Free agents watch carefully, chaos drives them away. The salary cap is already squeezed by Watson's contract. Another quarterback disaster could cripple flexibility for half a decade. And then there are the fans, who've endured too many false dawns to blindly trust again. Every move from here carries consequences. Every choice cuts deep. Because this isn't just about fixing a locker room. It's about saving a franchise from its own history. What began as a press conference has now become a referendum on the soul of a franchise. This is no longer just football. It's identity. It's respect. It's power. One quarterback's demand for acknowledgement colliding with one coach's demand for control. And stuck in the middle is a franchise that has spent decades searching for stability, only to find chaos knocking on its door again. The Cleveland Browns stand at a defining crossroad. One path leads to evolution, embracing the energy and improvisation of a new generation. The other clings to tradition, the discipline, the structure, the system that has carried Stefanski this far. Both paths carry risk. Both demand sacrifice, and neither guarantees salvation. The locker room feels it. The front office feels it. The fans, they've lived it for years. Every name that came before, every franchise savior, who never truly was, hangs in the air like a ghost. And so the question lingers, haunting Cleveland with every practice rep, every Sunday snap, every press conference stare. Will this be the season Shedeur Sanders becomes the savior the Browns have waited for? Or just the next tragedy in a story the city knows too well? The answer hasn't been written yet, but the clock is ticking, and the whole football world is watching.